everybody. You tuned into another episode of Hit of the Week Parlor Party. Today with Janet Klein and Mr. Frederick Hodges.
Hello, everybody. It's so nice to be at the parlor party.
Great to have you back, Frederick.
Thank you for inviting me.
Now, so again, you are kind of dialing in remote from Northern California, where
That
you
is correct.
rec-
Through the miracle of modern technology, we are able to speak to one another from such a tremendous distance.
abode to abode.
Yes,
Now that we're grounded for the definite future.
indeed.
But with all of that said, resourcefulness reigns, right?
At all times. But are you referring to anything in particular?
Especially now that we've been restricted to our home offices.
That's true.
And well, we both have things ahead on the calendar for live shows, but we just have no clue as to when those will continue.
Yes, all of my immediate engagements have been canceled, but their engagements scheduled for the rest of the year, and everyone's on a wait and see basis.
Absolutely. What are you able to do while you're having this downtime besides become a coffee enthusiast and a good cook?
Well, I practice the piano all day long, which is good. So I'm getting ready for my next live concert,
Great.
whenever that is. I'll be more prepared than I've ever been in my life because I can't go anywhere.
An upside to all this then. Yeah.
There's nothing to interrupt it. There's no jobs. I can't go to the store. It's wonderful.
Are you on the schedule again for the Pasadena Pops this next year? Next season?
No, I'm sure their season has been canceled.
That's right, because it must start in the summer.
Yes, exactly.
And you were out here last year, 2019, wasn't it September or so?
It was July that I played with the Pasadena Pops, played Rhapsody in Blue with that wonderful orchestra.
Magnificent, in
And,
fact.
and do you know who the conductor is?
Yes, I do, but you could brag about that.
Well, it's nothing for me to brag about. It's something for that orchestra to brag about, that they were able to entice the great Michael Feinstein to be their conductor.
Yes, precisely. Lucky. City of Pasadena, that is. So
That is.
we'll look for you on the agenda over there, and other wonderful places in the new year. And so we're here to do a little chit chat as we love to do.
We do. We're such good chatters.
So, but we're here today to share a little music, and we haven't done the thing yet. So would you like to warm it up?
Yes, why don't I? What would you like me to play? Should I play maybe a Gershwin piece? In fact, I will. Let me play for you a wonderful Gershwin song from 1926. I actually played this in our last live concert together. It's called Clap Yo Hands.
Can't help it.
Thank you. Oh, you just say that to all the boys, but thank you.
I can't help it if I work with impressive people.
Well, I'd love to hear you do something.
Well, I miss accompaniment so very much, but I have to say, it's an interesting new thing for me to play so much all by my lonesome on the ukulele. And I know there are a lot of ukulele enthusiasts that would prefer that I play more, but I'm just spoiled because I have such marvelous musicians to back me up that, I like to select particular tunes for the ukulele because such a dainty little instrument. And well, and especially the way I play it. So, so I think it's especially nice when you want to talk about something intimate and where you're going to be close up to somebody when you're singing, because it's just meant to be like played in a canoe with your honey. After all, it was sort of.
Well, that makes sense. I never thought about that before. And it's so tiny, it doesn't really get in the way of you and your honey. It's not like you're playing a balalaika or something.
Would be a problem.
Yes.
So, so anyway, I think that since I am a great lover of these old songs and especially of those little verses that so often get cast aside as the time goes on, and I love these little verses because they set up the whole story of the songs as they were originally written.
Exactly. They're very important. What song are you going to play for us first?
We shared the sheet music last time. I have it handy. I think I was going to do this one called Under the Moon, and look at you have it too. So you know what we're going to do? I'm going to do
What?
the verse and the first chorus, and then I'm going to hand it over to you since we can't play at the same time in the current technological situation. But I'm going to hand it over to you to play it out.
You got it. I'll play it out.
Yay! Here goes. And this one is from what year was it? By E.V.E. Lynn Francis Wheeler. Is that a person? E.V.E. Lynn, Lyn?
It looks like a pseudonym to me, Evelyn.
Evelyn, but kind of broken up in pieces.
Yeah, I'm not sure who that is.
Francis Wheeler and Ted Snyder. Who knows? And written.
1927.
There we go. Okay, that puts it all in proper order. Oh, yes, I like to say one more thing about this. This song reminds me of the stories that my grandmother told me about living in New York City in the 1920s when she was growing up. And she said that every kid in New York, you'd run around the streets, and every kid's mom would have a special whistle. And so you could run around as much as you want, and then when you heard your whistle being called, you knew to beat it home. So this song is sort of like that. It's like a little code for your honey when you want them to come out and take a little walk under the moonlight, that sort of thing.
Oh, I like that idea.
Yes. An owl and a squirrel watched a happy couple spooning neath a tree. They heard him say, "Be my honey and I'll be your bumblebee." He whispered, "Listen to me, dearie. I always want you to be near me. Don't ever stray away when you hear me calling you. When you hear you know I'm waiting for you. We've got some loving to do under the moon. The skies are starry and bright. The birds are sleeping at night. And there is no one in sight under the moon. Close to my heart, I feel your tender embrace. Never to part like birds in June when you hear you know I'm waiting for you. We've got some loving to do under the moon. Thank you, thank
That
you.
was a lot of fun.
Well, yes.
You know, you know, you're famous all over the world for your ukulele playing. I remember when we were on tour in Asia. I
Yes.
can't remember what country it was, but you got whisked away from the hotel and taken to a ukulele factory where they were going to present you with a special model made just for you.
It did. That's happened several times.
My heavens.
But I remember in Taiwan we met some folks like that and maybe Japan too. Every people are very nice.
I wish I had friends like that who would give me
Uh,
concert grand pianos wherever I went.
Well, you're still a young man, so
There's still hope.
I don't know. I think it's the universe of ukulele lovers. They're a very, very friendly bunch, I have to say. The only downside is that when you go to a ukulele festival and there might be hundreds of ukulele players there, your face hurts from smiling too hard. It's painful. It is.
You poor thing. People don't understand how you suffer for your art.
Everybody is so sparky and 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 cheerful and unique in the ukulele world, I have to say. So I give everybody a shout out. And in these crazy times, who cares for a little smiling muscle? You need it. You got to keep it going, keep using it, or you lose it.
Exactly. Exactly. Let's keep it because it keeps away wrinkles too.
Or it keeps them going in an upward motion. So let's see. Would you like to dish out another one? Since, you know,
Yes, I would. Would you mind terribly if I played a piece by Walter Donaldson called He's the Last Word?
the last word. Absolutely. What year is that one written?
Well, let's see.
Is that Held? Is that the artist who did the cover art? No.
No,
Al Held Jr., I think was his name. He was a terrific graphic designer in those days. He did a lot
he
of flappers and
the company that did the cover for this lists itself as JR, which I believe is something like John Rosenberg Studios or something to that effect,
oh,
and or it might be just Rose. And they were a major designer of sheet music publishers back in the 20s and 30s. But this is from 1927,
great.
and it's one of my favorite Walter Donaldson tunes, and I think you'll like it too.
That's great. Let's go.
Thank you so much.
That's perfect. That's a perfect collegiate flapper song or something, right?
It is. You know, there are a lot of songs similar to it with the same theme. I mean, if you just look at the words, he can't dance, but for real romance, he's the last word. Seldom talks, but for moonlight walks, he's the last word. Irving Berlin wrote a wonderful song called You'd Be Surprised with the very same theme. So obviously, there were a lot of shy boys out there who were impressive when you got them alone. They, so much so that they had to write songs about them.
It's a forgotten kind of theme.
It is.
Why not?
Maybe those sort of boys don't exist anymore. Maybe everybody is so accomplished and good at everything that the concept doesn't exist.
More to be said. That reminds me of that little tune. Oh, it was an English tune. I'm for you 100%. And it's all that she's just trying to describe her boyfriend, and she said that just to keep singing his praises, I got to keep coming up with new phrases.
Aw.
So little catchy things like that, like he's just the last word.
Mm-hmm.
That says it all.
It does.
Poetic.
Well, why don't we play another song?
Well, okay, let's do it. All right, here's one. Okay, after we do this one, I'd love to do just a chorus of this. And this is one that everybody knows. I'm not going to give it an introduction. You'll just know that it's one of the most beautiful songs ever. And how about if I just tinkle it out on the ukulele and play one chorus and you bring it to full fruition?
Okay,
Oh,
that's a good plan.
all right. Sometimes I wonder why I spend the lonely nights dreaming of a song. The melody haunts my reverie, and I am once again with you when our love was new, and each kiss an inspiration. But that was long ago, and now my consolation is in the stardust of a song beside the garden wall where stars are bright. You are in my arms. The nightingale tells his fairy tale of paradise where roses grew. Though I dream in vain, in my heart you always will remain. My stardust melody, the memory of love's refrain. Okay.
Well, thank you, Janet, for sharing that song with us. That's one of my favorites. Of course, it's one of everybody's favorite songs.
It's a beauty.
It is. I think that song will be performed for centuries to come, and it'll always seem new and relevant.
Yeah. I have a little story that it may be hearsay, but I heard it, and it's about the writing of this song. It was written by Hoagie Carmichael, and the story goes that he was, I think he lived in Indiana, in Bloomington, Indiana, and he would go out and see his friends play, including Bix Beiderbecke, great cornet player. And so the melody was supposed to be based on an instrumental improvisation that Bix Beiderbecke played in the instrumental section of a song.
Well, that's a very nice story. And Hoagie Carmichael told a version of that story, but he told a lot of stories about the origin of Stardust.
Oh.
So, but we know he wrote it in 27 when he was a student at the University of Indiana. Um, and the rest is history.
All right, well, we just got to look it up. So he told some other good tales about this tune?
Yes.
Oh, all right. Well, we'll look.
All of them contradictory, but you know what? It doesn't matter. The important thing is that he wrote it down
Yeah,
and recorded it, and now we all enjoy it.
exactly. Well, so shall we dive into the history bin here and look through some more sheet music together?
Yes, please.
All right, here it goes. Here it goes. Well, here we have the song that we just rendered together, Under the Moon.
Under the Moon. Now, have you ever wondered why there are so many popular songs about the moon?
Well, I have my own theories, but what are yours?
Well, my theory is that before electric lighting, the moon was the not only the brightest light in the sky, but the only light in the sky at night. And so when young couples wanted to take a walk, they needed moonlight in order to guide them. And so the moon became associated with romance.
Yes.
What
Getting
do you think?
get out and get under the moon. Exactly. And that's why everybody was yearning for those harvest moons and those big full moons so that you could just get out of the house and go, "Oh, we're going to take a nice walk."
That's right. You're suggesting it was just an excuse, but that's okay.
Well, it's part of the whole package, I would say. So this one, Under the Moon, and I'm calling you hoo hoo hoo, which was also I'm calling you hoo hoo hoo, was from the Indian Love Call also. I wonder when that one was written.
1924,
And Under the Moon, this one is from when?
27.
27. Yes. So I think there might have been a little reference, a little cute reference to that.
Maybe that's what it is. It's an homage to Rudolf Frimmel and
Yes.
his wonderful musical or operetta, Rosemarie,
And that song, Indian Love Call, was from that.
from Rosemarie, yes.
Oh, all righty. I see. I knew it because my grandmother told me that she entered a radio program contest and she won it singing Indian Love Call. So I always had a curiosity about that song. And also, that's the song that they would use at the firefall in Yosemite when they'd push the burning coals off the side of the cliff so it would look like a burning waterfall. And they would say, "Let the fire fall." And then I think, I'm not sure if it was a couple that would sing it or a woman only would sing the Indian Love Call as the flame, as the embers were flying down the side of the cliff. Very dramatic. So
That's a beautiful story. Um, as you know, I perform with Don Neely's Royal Society Jazz Orchestra, and our leader, Don Neely, plays, believe it or not, the Saw, the musical Saw.
I never saw
And
him do that.
was that a pun?
Heard it. No. Not a good one.
Anyway, so he brings his saw out, and we have this special act when we do a show, and people think it's a joke. And he sits down and he gets out his bow and he starts to wobble the saw blade, and all of a sudden he starts playing to my accompaniment the Indian Love Call.
Wow.
And although people are laughing at first, they're crying by the end because it's so beautiful. Because the saw sounds just like a human voice, especially when Don plays it. He's very talented.
Wow.
Anyway,
Okay. I'm gonna request that.
please do.
All right, let's go to the next one, shall we?
There's the song I played. Clap your hands.
Look at that. Lyrics by Ira. Don't
Correct.
forget. Next time we gotta get you to sing it. Will you,
All right.
will you sing one before the end of the afternoon here?
Maybe I will.
Ooh. Oh, here's one I love to do this song. This one, I want to go where you go and do what you do, then I'll be happy.
Yes.
And you know what I love about this sheet is that it features the singer who was featuring it at the moment, Adele Rowland. Do you know about her?
No, tell me about her.
Well, among the Vitaphone film shorts that have been restored, these first early synchronizations of sound and film, they reached out to the popular entertainers of the day, and Adele Rowland was very popular songstress of the day. She was popular for doing stories in song. That's what they described her as. And, and she was married to Charles Ruggles,
The actor.
a character actor. He's a really interesting character actor. Anyway, they were only married a couple years, and then she was married to Conway Turrell, who's another interesting actor. But anyhow, so she did a terrific and kind of unforgettably expressive Vitaphone short. And she did one about aviation, an aviation song, and she threw off her coat and kept going and had a lot of really not always tasteful songs, but very super expressive. Anyway, that's Adele Rowland. See, these sheet music pieces will tell you a little bit about the popular people of the day.
Mm. Well, I have a special relationship with that song
Berlin Incorporated. Yeah.
because when I was a child, my first exposure to the music of the 20s and 30s was through my grandparents. They had a piano at their house, and whenever I would go to their house, the first thing I would do is open up their piano bench. And inside the piano bench were stacks of old sheet music. And on the top of the stack was this very piece, Then I'll Be Happy.
Wow.
And I always imagined that the drawing of the woman in the middle of the sheet music was my grandmother when she was young,
Oh,
because she actually did look very much like that. There are pictures I have of my grandmother, and she has the very same hairdo.
oh, I want to see. We got to have a show and tell.
We will.
Love that. And did your mother or grandma, did they play the piano?
Yes, my grandmother and my grandfather, they were my mother's parents. They both played the piano, and it was fun going over to their house because after dinner, my grandfather would play the piano, and he'd be playing songs just like this.
Oh, wow, that's great. And did they both sing?
I imagine they did, but I don't remember them singing.
Oh, I wish I had some of that when I was.
But you see, they were of that generation where people made music at home. That was home entertainment.
Exactly.
And they had been married since 1929. So they were truly children of that wonderful era.
Yeah, I love that. Pre-TV generation, where everybody kind of sits around and watches somebody else do it.
Right.
In those days, everybody had all this sheet music and you just sit down and play it with your friends. Darn. Fun. Okay, here's more. Oh, we were talking last last time about the shows of the day, the popular Broadway shows. And so I realized I had some sheet music that was featured in the Ziegfeld Follies, this one from 1917. Um, let's see. Interesting that this was Ziegfeld Moulin Rouge. Maybe that was just the theme of that one. I'm not sure. And it sort of describes some of the other tunes that were introduced that year.
Hmm. And the star was Elizabeth Bryce, as it says on the sheet music.
Who was she? Do you know anything about her?
Oh, she was a tremendous star back then, a very beautiful, vivacious woman, great star appeal. But no relation to Fanny Bryce, who was also a big star at the Ziegfeld Follies.
Right, just a few years later. Doggone. Ooh. Anyway, that's really. I'll have to look her up. I wonder if she ever recorded Elizabeth, if she made it into the recording.
I don't know, but I'm sure many of our listeners will have an answer to that question.
Okay. Challenge. Here's one from Ziegfeld Follies 1921.
Hmm.
Ooh. And this one had a great, this one also, the back cover, music by Rudolf Frimmel. You knew it was going to be high class with Rudolph. Here it
Indeed.
goes. And then here's the back side of that. So you get a glimpse at some of these fabulous costumes you were going to see.
Oh, yes. The Follies and all those other big reviews were famous for their big fashion show scenes where the girls would come down,
Just kind of.
usually on a giant staircase, and model these amazing clothes.
And so and those were inspirational, I imagine, for Busby Berkeley, who did those kind of extravaganzas, choreographing for the early musical films.
Yeah, Gold Diggers of Broadway. It has and it's in two-strip Technicolor. It has a wonderful sequence that still exists of a fashion show.
There, look it. I have the sheet.
There it is. That's the sheet music, Painting the Clouds with Sunshine. And so it's on YouTube, so you can watch the wonderful fashion show scene.
Wow. And
Spectacular.
the movie where they kind of was there a Ziegfeld Follies within the movie kind of a thing?
Well, this is a backstage musical, as were most musicals in the early talkie days.
I love those. I can't get enough of those with all the chorus girls tap dancing in the back. I love those
Oh, yeah. They're
pieces.
fun.
All right, well, here we go. Here's the big broadcast.
Yes. The first of the big broadcast movies became a series. And these movies featured the great radio stars of the day.
And look at how many of them, these folks, almost all of them went on to bigger things. I mean, that they managed to surf through all the different new mediums, that they went from the stage and maybe made records and did radio, and then a lot of these folks got to TV and
Oh,
movie.
yeah. As you see Bing Crosby up there, who was the star of the movie. Of course, he was one of the biggest stars that ever lived.
Upper left, and there's Kate Smith. She was big too, as a
Yeah, in so many ways.
and then George Burns and Gracie Allen, very young in their career, 1932. The Boswell sisters, Cab Calloway, wow, wow, wow. The Mills brothers, yes, yes, yes. And then poor Arthur
Arthur Tracy, the street singer.
Singer. I don't know if maybe he didn't have a long life. I don't recall, but I think he's the one. He didn't really make it in all of the other mediums. I don't.
Well, he was a big star on radio, and he did make at least one movie. And I know he performed in England in the 30s, um,
Okay.
but he doesn't seem to have existed much after that.
Then he did Marta. Was that his big hit?
Yes.
Beautiful. Oh well. There's a tear for every smile, as they say. Oh, and here's the little letter to Uncle Jimmy Dooley from 1938 from Milton Wiles Songwriters Club. And I just love seeing this because the committee apparently would review songs that were submitted to them. And so my husband's uncle Jimmy was an aspiring songwriter. And so he submitted a tune to the Songwriters Club and they reviewed it. And they wrote him back to say that it's a sweet little waltz number, but we do not feel it holds enough commercial possibilities uh, to shape into a probable bestseller. And they went on to tell him, waltzes are just not marketable these days.
What year was this letter written?
This was 1938.
Mm.
So they told him to concentrate on foxtrots and gave him a few tips and a little encouragement. So that was nice.
Oh, that's very nice. But
Songwriters submitting to such organizations back in the day.
but wouldn't it be funny if this Uncle Jimmy was actually an alias for a, a famous composer, such as Richard Rodgers, and the song that he submitted for them was actually "Oh, What a Beautiful Morning,"
Yes,
and Milton Weil, who was a big publishing house, turned it down.
it's happened before. We know there's a lot of good stories like that, right?
Oh yeah.
I can think of one. I remember hearing about that song. Nothing could be finer than to be in Carolina in the morning. And so apparently, the composer, who I'm not recalling the name right now,
Walter Donaldson,
was it Walter Donaldson?
of course.
I heard that he submitted this song or to Thomas Edison. And Thomas Edison was not known for having great musical taste, and he didn't have great hearing either. So he said, I don't want to hear a big production of this. Just play me the melody. I don't want the words or anything. And so the melody, of course, is da 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 da, and threw him out of the office. That's interesting, right? Okay. I pulled aside this one because we talked about the great lady composer Dana Suisse.
Yes, that's one of her biggest pieces, Jazz Nocturne. Of course, that's actually not the sheet music cover, but
Oh,
that's the advertisement for it, which is actually really a nicer design than the actual cover, which is all black with difficult to read lettering.
oh, there you go. I know. This was on the back of one of the sheets. And I noticed that.
Yeah, it's very beautiful, beautiful lettering.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
The one that maybe you're going to play for us today.
Oh, I'd love to play this. This is one of my favorite songs, Lover by Rodgers and Hart.
Okay.
And
Well, we just got to do it. We got to do it. We got to do it.
all right, let's do it now.
All right. Yeah. completely dreamy. Oh, this is wonderful, fun. I hope that the people who are hanging out with us today, watching our little tete-a-tete, will enjoy it half as much as me.
I hope they get out their sheet music and look at the covers and
Yeah.
put out the music on the piano and start playing it and really enjoying it.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Well, anyhow, I guess we may have done this thing, and maybe we are ready to close out another episode of the Parlor Pie.
Well, Miss Janet, thank you so much for inviting me to your party. It's so much fun doing this with you. I hope that we can do it again someday.
Let's do it sooner than later, shall we?
All right.
All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, bye, Frederick. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much. What a pleasure.